Okay,
Okay.
good to go.
So this personnel committee meeting for Tuesday, March 23rd. In accordance with the requirements of open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded, may be broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel. The Town of Lunenburg, in response to the COVID-19 coronavirus, is currently following the guidance from the Lunenburg Board of Health, Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and CDC regarding the virus and steps communities can take to prevent the spread. And all town facilities are currently closed to the public in accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, Chapter 30A, Section 20. All public meetings are being conducted remotely. This meeting will be recorded and be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours after the meeting. Following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to view the meeting remotely. To view remotely from a computer, use the link, the Zoom link there, or from a telephone, dial 929-205-6099 and enter a webinar ID. If you haven't registered with Zoom, you'll be asked to do so. No participant ID is needed. Just press pound when asked. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by open meeting law. So the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from March 8th,
I
2021.
make a motion.
Call to order.
Yep.
Do you want to do attendance with roll call?
Call to order.
Call to order. All right. So this is attendance we're doing. Joanna,
Here,
Eric Arnold is here. Dave.
Here.
And
Sue.
Sue.
Here.
All right. I think that's it, right? We have a few guests.
Yeah, the 504.
Call number 504. Okay. Now can we move on to approval of minutes?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes of March 8th, 2021 as submitted.
Second.
All right, all in favor, Joanna?
Aye.
Eric's and I, Dave? And Sue?
Aye.
All right. So now the old business. So at our last meeting, we discussed and we passed a change in the longevity plan in the article. And then it was it Tuesday of last week? Was that the select board meeting?
Yes.
I went to that and I think the one issue that I think we still need to address is it's the language that we used for what we passed on longevity was essentially positions that were director positions would receive the police or fire contract longevity amount, and that all other positions would receive the clerical amount. And then the question, came up, well, what exactly qualifies as a director position? So that, some are pretty clear and some are not quite so clear. So we wanted to have this meeting to basically try to either, I think my goal is, I think we can bring clarity to that, or if we don't feel we can vote to just kind of remove that and address the longevity section in the fall.
That was the recommendation from the select board is, for us to continue working on it, leave it as is, and then address it again in the fall.
Mr. Chair, I
This is
don't,
Sue. I'm kind of curious. Did they talk a little bit about the grandfathering part of it, or just the director part of it?
Just the director part. I mean, they didn't say whether that they liked what we did or didn't like what we did.
I think they just wanted further clarification, felt it was very confusing the way that it was written. And in order for them to modify the article, the committee has to grant, whether it's Eric or myself, to ask the select board to amend our article, removing the longevity piece.
Mr. Chair, I recommend that we take a vote on removing our article at this town meeting and the next town meeting to give more time for town manager and town manager personnel to work out more of these details.
Not the whole article, just the longevity section. We still want the article with the positions to be
Just
entered onto the SAP, just the longevity portion.
That would be my motion.
I would accept and second David's motion.
So I do think there's actually an easy solution to this that may prevent us from having to remove it. And that is if we just go by the grade. So rather than title, if we said any position grade X or above, we'd go with police fire, and then below could be the clerical. And that's basically, when you look at all the different positions we have, I think that's a good way to separate it. And then no matter what additional positions get added in the future or removed or titles change, the language that we pass would be based on grade and therefore would still be valid.
I think that's an excellent to the employees.
You're kind of breaking up. You're breaking up a little bit there, Dave.
What does it do to the president saying with grandfather and going forward with the grade?
So what we passed was about the grandfathering in. There's no change to that. It would just be like, this is, I think the clarity we need is around new hires and what category they would fall into for the longevity.
And I agree with that 1,000%, because if you're hired at a certain grade, and that's it. There's no supervision or clerical. It's what you're hired at. Then that's an excellent. I like that a lot, actually.
This is Sue. My only concern would be, we've had some discussions in the past about trying to take this whole grid and make it a little bit more, make it smaller and less jobs and less levels and we haven't done that work. We've talked about it a couple of times that we wanted to take a look at that. And this would be another part of that. If we make that kind of a rule and then we change those positions over time, does that, should it be, I kind of like that. Let's make sure that we're looking at all the levels correctly before we start to say this level is in the longevity at the police and fire department level versus the school level.
And I think, again, I think that's a good point that Sue has made. And I think that just proves that we do need to still do work and revisit this in the fall, especially when we're going to be looking at the SIP classification and comp plan as well. I think they do go hand in hand. So I would recommend, again, that for this meeting that we just ask one of us to be able to request from the select board to remove the longevity piece from our article and revisit it in the fall. Make no change.
Which is what the motion that I put out there was.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct, that I seconded and we didn't amend as of yet.
Correct.
Don't-
One of the next things we're doing, Julie, if I'm correct, is kind of looking at the 20 different grades we have and trying to shrink that.
Yep, that's an option. And then we have to set the wages as well for the next 3 years.
So I guess it does make sense to hold off on using any grade language if they're gonna change at some point in the future.
But all due respect, Mr. Chair, that was a great idea, and I still
Yeah,
think.
I thought it was a wonderful idea too, Dave.
Ah,
So,
I
I did too.
well, maybe we can come back to that great idea some other day. All right, so the motion's on the table for just to remove the longevity language from the town meeting article and keep the position language in there. That's the whole first part of the article, and
Yep.
okay.
And defining who's going to request that the select board make that change. Can be you, can be any one of us. Probably easiest if I do.
Sure, yeah, you can do that, Julie.
Okay,
You gonna take a vote?
Yep. All right, so Joanna,
I,
Dave,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and Eric's and I. So the motion passes. Is there any other new business or discussion that people want to have?
Beautiful day.
Yeah.
it is beautiful.
let's go enjoy it.
Well, how about a motion to adjourn then?
Can I ask a in board comment? I don't know where that would fall. If going forward, we can kind of have a discussion around having, and I know Julie, you're on as an employee from the town. But does your role encompass kind of like the management side of it? Because, you know, in union negotiation, there's the corporate side and the employee side. So do you represent all employees, or should we really have an employee come when we're having these type of conversations to be part of that communication back and forth as you would similar to in union negotiations?
From what I understand is I consider myself to be a mutual, although in the bylaw, there is no employee rep. You are the reps for the employees. But we also open it up so that employees can attend these and speak for themselves as well.
Okay,
They're all public.
I thought I read something that there is an employee rep, and I didn't know if that was you. Okay,
Joanna.
Where did you read that?
in the personnel packet, that there was a representative from the town.
In the bylaw,
Yes, in that personnel packet you sent out. I don't have it right in front of me, I'm sorry. Because I just think it helps the dialogue on both sides coming in. But if you're mutual that you cover both, then
It's certainly something to look at because it's hers is a new position in the last 2 years. So it may not be clear who the employee rep was intended to be in the beginning.
right,
But it certainly is true that when things come up about employees, we can engage ourselves to invite them and they can invite themselves. But it certainly needs, Julie, it would seem like we need clarification on what that in the personnel bylaws, what that was intended to be.
agree.
that was all I had, just to, in future meetings, kind of look at.
What was good about this though, Joanna, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chair, is that if any employee has any concerns at all, they can just jump on these meetings as well.
Correct,
So it's instead of, no, I know there's no union rep because there is no union. I mean, our job is to ensure that the employees of the SAP are having a fair shake. But the communication that we found out is very important. So you need input from everybody. And since there is no union rep, I think the more employees that jump on, the better it could be.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, I don't remember ever hearing about that there was an employee rep, but maybe that's some language that exists that I just missed.
I haven't seen it, so it'll
I'll
be interesting
resend it.
unless they did it on the new, when they redid the charter.
All right, well, for a motion to adjourn,
I make a motion to adjourn?
I second.
all right,
Third,
Joanna,
Aye.
Eric's and I, Dave.
Aye.
And Sue,
Aye.
all right.
Eric,
Thank you, everyone.
nice job through all this, Eric. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Julie.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
There's something in the chat. There's two things in the chat.
It just says thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Have a great night.
Thanks,
Bye.
you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.